Have you ever stopped and wondered how we can find one specific spot on this huge planet of ours? I mean, from the top of Mount Everest to a tiny boat in the middle of the ocean. Well, it's all thanks to an invisible code, a kind of secret grid that wraps around the entire world. And in this explainer, we're going to crack that code together.
So here's the game plan. First, we'll look at the big problem we're trying to solve. Then, we'll get to know the two sets of lines that make up our global grid. We'll see how they work together to give every single place a unique address. And finally, we'll check out the other key lines that define different zones on our planet. Let's get started.
Okay, so first things first. Let's just think about the size of the challenge here. We live on a massive sphere, constantly spinning through space. Seriously, think about it for a second. How would you give someone directions to a spot in the middle of the Pacific Ocean? You couldn't say, turn left at the big wave, right? We needed a system, a universal language for location that would work for anybody, anywhere on Earth.
And the solution that everyone agreed on is actually pretty brilliant. It's a system of imaginary lines. You can't actually see them, of course, but by drawing them on our maps and globes, we create this powerful grid that lets us find any location with amazing accuracy.
To build this grid, we need two different sets of lines. So let's dive into the first set, the lines of latitude.
Okay, I want you to imagine a bunch of invisible hula hoops circling the Earth. They run east to west, side by side, never touching. These are our lines of latitude. And their one big job is to measure how far north or south something is from the middle of the planet.
Now, with any kind of measurement, you've got to have a starting point, right? A zero. And for latitude, that zero line is, well, it's the most famous line on the planet.
You've got it. It's the equator. This is our 0-degree line, our main starting point. It wraps right around the widest part of the Earth, perfectly in between the North and South poles.
The most important thing the equator does is split our planet into two equal halves, which we call hemispheres. Everything above or north of the equator is in the northern hemisphere, and everything below or south of it is in the southern hemisphere. It's that simple.
Okay, so we've figured out how to measure north and south, but what about east and west? For that, we need our second set of lines to finish the grid, the lines of longitude.
Now these lines are different. Instead of parallel hoops, think about the lines on an orange. They all meet up at the top and the bottom. Lines of longitude do the same thing. They run vertically from the North Pole all the way down to the South Pole, and their job is to measure distance east or west.
And just like with latitude, we need a zero line for longitude, a place to start all of our east-west measurements from.
And that starting line is called the prime meridian. It's our 0-degree line of longitude. Now, by international agreement, this imaginary line runs from the North Pole to the South Pole right through the Royal Observatory in Greenwich, London, which is why, you guessed it, it's also called the Greenwich Meridian.
And just like the equator did, the prime meridian splits the world into two more hemispheres. Everything to the east of the line is in the eastern hemisphere, and everything to the west of it is in the western hemisphere.
So, we have our lines for measuring north and south, and our lines for measuring east and west. By themselves, they're useful. But when you put them together, well, that's where the magic really happens. This is how we crack the code.
It all comes together in two really simple steps. So first, you take those horizontal lines of latitude,
And then you lay the vertical lines of longitude right on top of them.
And there you have it, a perfect global grid. Now, every single point on Earth sits at the intersection where one line of latitude crosses one line of longitude.
And that intersection point has a special name. We call it a coordinate. It's like a unique address for any place on our planet made up of one latitude measurement and one longitude measurement.
Now, this is absolutely crucial to remember, especially for your exams. There's a rule. Latitude is always written first. Always. A good way to remember it is you have to climb a ladder up or down before you can walk across. So if you see a coordinate like 25 degrees south, 30 degrees east, you know you first go 25 degrees south of the equator, and then you go 30 degrees east of the prime meridian. And just like that, you found an exact spot in southern Africa. Pretty cool, right?
All right, the equator and the prime meridian are the foundation of this whole system, but there are 5 other special lines of latitude you really need to know. Think of them as major highways on the globe that help define the world's biggest climate zones. And these lines aren't just in random places. They're located where they are because of the Earth's tilt, that 23.5-degree angle. That tilt is what gives us our seasons, and these key lines mark the boundaries for the sun's most direct rays, which creates the tropical, temperate, and polar regions. Let's do a quick tour from top to bottom. Way up north, we have the Arctic Circle at 66.5 degrees north. Moving down, we hit the Tropic of Cancer at 23.5 degrees north. In the middle, of course, is the equator at 0 degrees. Then we get to the Southern Twins, the Tropic of Capricorn at 23.5 degrees south, and the Antarctic Circle at 66.5 degrees south. And finally, the very top and bottom of the world, the North Pole at 90 north and the South Pole at 90 south. Knowing these 7 lines is a massive step towards being a geography expert.
So there you have it. The secret code to our planet is officially unlocked. You see, latitude and longitude aren't just lines on a map. They're the language of location itself. They're a powerful tool for science, for navigation, and for every big adventure. You now have the key to find any place on Earth. So, the only question is, where will you explore first?